You kind of mentioned before we were recording, this is not traditional chef garb. You guys are relaxed. You guys have fun. This is a place to have fun.
That was a very intentional thing when we opened, is when, like, if you can't really see to my left, but we're playing records the whole time, and our staff's in a band shirt or our shirt, and that's on purpose.
Yeah.
We want to be disarming. We want it to be fun. We want people to want to be here, and we want it to be so that, like, you can come to a meal, have like what we would call like high quality fine dining, but in a space where you get to be relaxed.
Yeah.
Nothing bothers me more than spending 4 figures on a dinner and then also feeling weird the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, we should, you should feel awesome. You should feel welcome. You should feel like you're hanging out at your friend's house and you get to eat a great dinner with them. And that's what we've tried to build. Truly, the reason I got into cooking, it's kind of funny, like I, believe it or not, was slightly a delinquent child, just like very slightly, but I wanted to go to school for music, and I did for a little bit, and then that didn't, if you believe this, you don't go to school for music and then find yourself in a touring band, which really big letdown when you find that out. And I had more of a go to parties problem than go to college problem, and I addressed that early, and I thought, I literally took a ringer on going to culinary school, and I went to culinary school 600 miles away from where I lived, because I knew that if I got myself out of my situation, I would do something. I had to do it, and I did it on my own, and I kind of just set a path, and I picked a direction, and I went in it for as long as I could. So I guess we're here now, so it seems like it worked out, but that's really what it was. And if people ask me about culinary school and the success, and I don't know if I fully believe in culinary school or fully believe in staging and working in the industry if you really have intelligence about it. But what I do believe is if you want to like end up somewhere you want to go is not stopping, and like you just keep going. And when things get hard, you go, that sucks. And guess what? You just keep going. So that was a lot of my culinary journey, because it's a hard job. I mean, it's stressful. You work all the time when people are having fun, and you don't get to have a life like everybody else does. But at the same time, like, you get, like I said, you get to be a part of the coolest parts of people's lives. When you ask people about memories, a lot of them are about food or a restaurant they were at or all that. So I wanted to be that. And I thought that kind of was a direct line of like, I do something, people are happy. Just like music, you get to see instant feedback if you're doing a good job. You get to see instant feedback if you're doing a bad job. So it just sort of made sense, and then here we are.
What does a perfect night or a perfect kind of dinner service at this restaurant look like for you?
As Zach, the business owner, when there's a lot of people here.
What about the chef?
I just want people in the seats to be happy. A big goal for mine is when you walk through the door, a lot of people, like, we're a very busy restaurant on Fridays, Saturdays, and a lot of people made this reservation at the beginning of the week or 2 weeks ago, so this is what they've looked forward to. So we have a promise to deliver on, which is like, they've made this the coolest thing they're gonna do all week in their mind. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but we're giving them that. And our job is when you walk in the door, we need to make sure you're happy you're walking down. So as long as I've done that, I think we've done a good job. And that's even just table touching, our personalities and the whimsical, fun nature of the food, kind of achieves that. But that's what makes me happiest as a chef, is like everybody really leaving this place happier than they got here, because that's the coolest part of our job, is we get to be the best part of someone's week. And we take that pretty seriously. We're using flavors that may not always go together, or we're using ingredients that always do go together in a different way. So like, kind of having this cleverness to what we do, but in a way that like seems familiar and grounded. So that's what's most important to us. And then we're always changing the menu for better or worse, because like Drew and I just get stuff and we're excited about it.
Yeah.
And we want to keep showing what we can do and what can be done. And like, for people that want something to come in and have a great thing and then come back and maybe not see that great thing again, but understand that like we'll still make it great.
Yeah.
It's fun. I always say it's like, we're like kind of like a band in a way. Like, if you like our catalog, you're going to like our next album, so that's how we look at it, because we're still the same guys. It's still the same creative direction. And like, we just like to have fun. That's most important for us.
How do you stay creative? How do you continue to innovate? Because it's hard, like you mentioned, if somebody comes in and they love a dish, well, you guys are seasonal. That dish is going to be off the menu sooner rather than later. How do you kind of keep pushing and evolving to give a consistent experience of flavor, but those flavors are going to change?
Yeah, I mean, short form, I'm a weird guy. That's the answer. Both Drew and I are like just creative people that kind of have more creativity of art for us than we have canvas space sometimes. But in the longer form answer, there's like this idea that we've prescribed to, and I've prescribed to most of my cooking career, of like being technique and flavor driven means that you have like much more mobility than somebody that's stuck inside of like a region of cuisine. If we say, hey, I make French food from Provence, you know what I'm saying? So you have an ingredient set that you're allowed to use, and that's it. If it's outside of Provençal French food, then you're not doing it correctly. So for us, we say, okay, well, we don't care about that. We care about things like what's the acid on the dish, what's the umami on the dish, what's the bitter on the dish, and that's how we built things. So it's fun, it's almost improvisational sometimes, and we attach it with like, okay, like this tastes good, we like this Romano bean, we like pistachio, how are we gonna marry them together? So that's the fun way to do it, and that's how we always stay innovative. It's not, we don't have this big like Charlie Day style like cork board on the wall of like, this is next and this is next. Sometimes it's just kind of being inspired and moving and being rooted in your kind of mastery of flavors well enough to know that like, hey, well, this will taste good when we do it. And we shoot from the hip more often than not, and then we correct. We all taste it together and we correct. And usually it's like shoot from the hip, taste once, and then it gets on the menu, which is, I think, a lot more run and gun than people might think we are, because everybody's like, what's the R&D process like? And I get that question a lot. And truthfully, it's literally just a string of text messages than us deciding on a flavor combination and knowing that it's going to taste good, and that's usually like I hit Drew with 3 flavors, and then we make it into a dish. So yeah, the burger's a funny one because we got we did it exclusively at the bar when we opened, and I just was like, hey, we'll make like a good burger. Like it'll have cheese, pickles, sauce, meat, burger, you know what I'm saying? And I was so resistant because, when you grow up in California or anywhere, you're resistant to be like, I don't want to be a burger restaurant. I don't want to be a restaurant that sells innovative, thoughtful stuff. I don't want to sell burgers. And then truly, like we are seeing a slight industry shift towards these like nostalgic foods. Like Danny's in New York is one of like the hottest reservations, and like they sell burgers and fried chicken. You know what I'm saying? So we were like, well, okay, I pulled that burger off the bar. Then I was like, what if we took our same approach and just were clever about it? And I saw a restaurant in France was doing a burger in like almost like a bordelaise sauce face down, and I wanted to do something similar. So we used a dry aged brisket, and it's a brisket chuck blend, and then we grind, and it has dry aged ribeye fat grinded into it. So really, really unctuous piece of meat. Comté cheese, which is like almost like Swiss cheese from the Jura region of France. House-made pickles, caramelized onions, caramelized also in beef fat, because I think you figure out what we're doing here. And then serving it in like an op sauce, almost like a bath to like dip it in and kind of enjoy. Incredibly rich, incredibly decadent, a little over the top, but kind of makes sense as what we're doing. And funnily, people ask me why there's 10 a night, and I usually just say because I'm a jerk, reflecting back to the don't want to be a burger restaurant. But it's also our unintentional happy hour item, because on the weekends we sell out of them by like 6:15. So if you want to come get one, you get here early. And that's kind of the restaurateur's continual fight, is getting people, especially when you have a dark and moody restaurant, into your restaurant when it's not dark and moody yet. So it's kind of this fun little double-edged sword, and we enjoy it. And if you pay, I don't know when this is going live, but if you pay attention, you might see more things along those lines from us, where we're rocking and rolling on these like blue plate special items through our own vision, And then like, I'm just gonna hard transition. The bar program is kind of fun because we opened up, like I said, California Scandi Wine Bar, but we kind of figured out we didn't want to be a wine bar, just mainly because we don't, if you've noticed, like labels, and in that like is a perception restriction. But we are a place that has a great wine list. We celebrate a lot of really underserved wine regions in California and throughout the world, and kind of have wines that, like, I call them like the anti-Ralph's wines. You know what I'm saying? There are wines that are beloved in Orange County that you can go find on the shelves of Ralph's. And I suggest, if you like those, to go buy them there. And that we won't have those. And then we do have an awesome cocktail program ran by our whiz kid, Gianna Marcario, we took the assignment of being a wine bar pretty seriously, and I challenged her when I hired her, and I don't think she understood, but she didn't fully understand the challenge, because she was like, yeah, no problem. We're gonna have leftover wine, we should be making vermouth every week. And we started making vermouth and aperitivos, and we have a whole cocktail program based around that. We bring in some awesome ones from around the world as well, but it's kind of, we're making one-of-a-kind things, and we're making them into our cocktails. And anytime you come in, you could always ask, and we have probably 3 to 4 vermouth batches going at all times, and she'll let you taste them. And it's pretty cool, because if you work at a traditional bar, we'll use an example of a brand name like Jack Daniel's. Everybody can buy Jack Daniel's. Doesn't matter what bar you are, everybody can do it. But not everybody has a one-of-a-kind vermouth made from farmers market produce off casks, or like things that we're bringing in for our program. So it's like truly unique and one of a kind, which I think every bar program fights to be, but it's just by virtue of kind of working with an incredible restraint. And I think Gianna's done a fantastic job doing that.
So good. If you're the type of person that cares about food at all, you care about the Orange County restaurant scene at all, or if you're not even in Orange County and you're watching this and you care about your local restaurants, places like this have to exist. You have to come and support them. Times are very tough right now. I get that and I sympathize. But restaurants like this are what make dining out so special. Come to Darkroom, have some food, have some fun. This is a good one for a reason. Come support it. I love it.